Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Was. Letters, the recognizing of letters. How do we do that? There's a certain system that you can use actually to know how we recognize letters. It's almost like a kind of a mathematical system where you can derive them to points where you recognize them. If you really could derive them to points, then we also associate it with space, like an orientation in space. The localization is the most dominant one. And there are 9 letters that behave themselves towards that kind of orientation and association that we derive from the other letters are associated with movement. So we see something changing, we hear something changing. So we follow up the movements and we need time for it. A different perspective, all kinds of associations come forth from it, just from these positions alone. Or we have a certain behavior where we have counter responses where we actually follow up all these behaviors and make a definition of what kind of behaviors we can recognize. Also 9 other positions correspond to that. So once we know actually what kind of triggers there are in the letters, we also can make combinations of letters and we can recognize what kind of behavior is also expected towards the words that are described with these letters. So let's make it a bit more difficult. I had the word pen already. There's one word with just one letter different, and that is the word pet. And the funny thing is, okay, I know already immediately minimum of 3 completely different meanings of pet, while also every word has just one meaning, I say, of orientation, and that derives also certain associations with what kind of behavior can we expect from these positions. And that's that trigger point, which is always the same, and it's also the same with these completely different meanings. In the pet of in French means it's a fart. In Dutch you also have that word, it's a cap, like a hat actually. In English it means to caress, or it's a beloved, or you can have a pet very nearby, as you can also know these words. So 3 completely different approaches towards the word pet, and still it has the same kind of letters. So how is that possible? If I say that letters have a fixed meaning, puzzle actually, you still have a certain variations in it, and I will show you how these variations also can lead to the variations that show a fitting position towards these definitions. And then I will also explain how it will have a common aspect of adaptation towards these positions. And basically, so with a pet, with the first 2 letters, it's already about movement. So I will start in movement. There's also one letter of localization, so I'll also have that localization. So we'll go from movement to a certain localization where we can localize it. This localization with all these letters, with all these words, you already saw, it leads to a different point of focus, but it will all lead to a similar kind of association. So we have localization in T, and we have positions in P and E, or E. So the P will basically start. You have a few options. You can have that there in the first position or in the second position. Let's go immediately to the first position where we'll start from. When I start from the middle, where I say, okay, I'll try to focus it upon a general object before me. And where's the P? It's in the timing. It goes beyond the timing process even. Then we also have the E, which follows up. The E means, we have the associations when you know more or less where it is. I'll just tell you where it is. It's the P first and the E. And the E is, now I go to the second position of timing. I have timing always in 2 positions, where I come from, where I go to. Now here the P will leave my first position, goes to the second position. E is about follow-up of movement, follow-up the change. So I go towards a point of change. That's already very abstract, but that's what the theory says. A follow-up, a time process, and a follow-up what changes. And then the next letter will be the T, so the T will be some position up where I can find the letter T. It will be somewhere up, anywhere up where I will follow it up. So I already make just a follow-up of a position in a time process. I have to take them together to the P, E, and T. The last letter is the position in a spatial environment, in a spatial orientation, in a position actually. If you take the first meaning, fart, we know of course we leave a fart behind us at a certain position, so that's in the last letter, the T is that position. We find that result ends in a position, so you can, so we can understand why the T is fitting to the letter pet as a fart. We also have a process before that in time, and we have also a pop out of something of the fart, which you see it in the other way around. So it starts with that pop up that surprises us, the time process we follow, and then the T of the position where we notice it. It could be the other way around, but it's just we follow that process. So you see, oh yes, okay, it can fit quite well. We don't see the cloud, we don't see it, we don't see that cloud. It is about there is a cloud involved, there's a smell involved. No, we're not talking about that. It's just like you have the surprise with the P. We follow up in the E, and we localize it also. That is the pet actually. There's another pet as well. Let's go to the next words. Let's go back to the basics. Where is a pet as well? Yeah, when we see that in the second position, where we can also find it in the second position for the second person, with the movements and timings are always timing towards the other thing. So let's go already to where I can see it at somewhere else, at someone else. And there the P, the E, and the T is like almost literally the P is that pop up that you could have, and that pop up now I will go higher up. The E of the P on the same level as the P actually. The E, the timing where you can make a choice, and the choice is the T. I have a position. That choice is what I do with it. If I pop it out or have that and then I localize it at a certain point, and it gives me also the feeling of a certain independency as well. This pop up at the same time, you will see that later, also has that extra association of P. I follow a direction, and this direction it gives me actually an opportunity to say, okay, I can do something with it as an independent direction. It shows me, like my hat actually shows me that kind of not dependency but independency. I feel good with this hat. The pet, another thing, is the pet of the companion, let's say. Also there, the pressing out, the timing is there. I can see them at two places. That companion which accompanies me, and that is pressed away from me, so it's a bit away from me, but I follow it up, and it has that certain independency at a certain place near me, slightly independent, made independent from me. So the companion is not someone who is dependent on me, no, it's someone who is independent of me. So which is also somewhat loose from me as well. That's also that kind of feeling. If you really read between the lines, you already see a certain aspect. Okay, maybe I didn't design it very perfectly, and I also loosely designed it well, where it is, because where is the T? How high is the T? The P is clear where it should be. The A is a time process, so it's not very good the localization. The T is then the localization, where it will dominate, where this aspect will dominate. And as a physical place where I enter, it will be detachable, it will have a certain independency just because of the P. So let's have that once more now with the meaningfulnesses. What is the P actually means in the system? All the letters from the second degree are about, let's follow up certain directions. You have the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal direction from space in D, N, and Y. The O, E, Z, and we are follow-up, further follow-up in time from all the processes from beginning to end. And G, F, and P are more about the end effect. So there are already too many directions, and I need to make a conclusion. So where shall I go with my conclusion? I follow all the directions. I already had all the directions and all the directions that I could follow up. Now I really go to the real results, the end conclusion. And it will also become, because of the P, it will crosses its borders and have its independent result as well. So even more than following directions, I also follow up the results. So I'm more focused upon what can it bring to me in the pet? What will it bring there in the pet? Is the focus that starts in P. So that's all the kind of directions, and something pops up to which I follow up in a certain time. And this time, also this time process that come forward from it and the changes that fall forward keeps that independency from the letter P, that popping out of my system even of an extra result that I can get forth from it. It will even continue to do that independently. And when I go to a certain place, wherever I have that with all these possible places where it is up, down, wherever it is, it's always this independency which remains there. And that's, if you go to the video once more and also go to all these positions where it can be, the combination is always the same. The directions is always the same. The feeling is the same. That's that pet. Even if with a fart it goes the all directions, and it's suddenly say I'm always surprised that this independency still can be found at a certain place. If it's my friend, the pet, it also has not a detachment that is dependent. Now it's that independency, and I appreciate it for that. Not in that funny way as the pet, as the French pet, but I still like it. The pet also on your head gives you a certain idea, like, okay, I have this, I can take it off, it pops out, it pops myself out also with a certain independency. Okay, that's already an extra association, but the surprise that it gives you, that leads you to a word that even with different meanings, it's always the same thing that gives you a signal that explains this kind of variations. And in the end, with the letter T, it gives you it gives this a certain function of independency in a time process, which I like. That's basically what it is for pet. Thanks very much for listening or watching. Until the next time, thanks, bye.